Apologies,
Hello.
I had to say to some colleagues to don't even dare to open the door.
Okay. Actually, I don't know if we are live yet. If that's the case, hello and welcome everyone. We are giving, a couple of minutes so that everybody can join. I see 10:02, so maybe we can just kick it off. What do you think, Malin? We shall go?
I think that's good.
Okay, so I don't see any attendees on my view, but everything is working and everything is okay. Okay.
Yes.
So here we go. Welcome everyone, and thank you for taking this time with us today. We are celebrating Earthmonth in the Nordics. This is one of the events organized by the Go Green Nordics team. Actually, its leader, Julie Bush, was supposed to kick it off today and welcome you and give this introduction, but unfortunately she's sick today. So Julie, get better. I'll do my best. And as a kind of introduction, just let me explain that we started last year. You know that Earth Day is April the 23rd, but last year we thought that was not enough, just one day dedicated to the planet. So we decided to make it a month, Earth Month, the month of April, which is full with events like this one, communications, awareness, campaigns, initiatives, activities, and this is a perfect example being organized by our team in the Nordics. So let me share the deck that we have ready for today. So hopefully you can see it. And let me introduce myself. I'm Manuel Aguirre. I'm part of the corporate sustainability team at TD SYNNEX. Today, it's going to be two hosts, myself and Dimitrios. Dimitrios is our European inbound and Nordics outbound freight manager. And I will at some point in the presentation, I will hand it over to him. Also, let me also note as a kind of housekeeping that there will be a Q&A at the end. However, if there's something that you feel you need to ask in that specific point along the presentation, please go ahead. The only thing that, because of how the webinar has been configured, you're going to be on mute. So please use the Q&A, just type your question, and Malin will help me or Dimitrios take that question at that moment, okay? So today I'm going to take you through the main highlights of our sustainability program from our corporate perspective. And this we're going to make it short. It's going to be around a half an hour presentation, and we will be taking you through the main highlights. If, as I said, if you need to expand on a specific topic, we can use the Q&A at the end. I like to start with this slide that you have on the screen now, because it tells our story. So our sustainability program is, well, kind of recent. Actually, it started at the end of 2021, so it's 4 years old. That's when we committed to the Science-Based Targets Initiative in September 2021. And then a few months later, our sustainability team was formed, and then we started putting the foundational blocks in place. So you have some examples on the slide from our fiscal year 22, 23, and 24. I won't be going through all of them, just pinpointing some of them. It's worth noting that we have put in place a sustainability training program with 3 modules: Sustainability Essentials, Circular Economy, and Carbon. And we are about to launch the 4th module on data centers. That's both internal and external training. So we TD SYNNEX co-workers, we can take these trainings, but also any partner of us can have you have access to our TD SYNNEX Academy, external academy, and if interested, you can also take our sustainability trainings. There's a test at the end. If you pass the test, you get a badge that you can promote in social media, for example. Also worth noting that we have been taking a number of assessments and external ratings. Here we are highlighting a couple of examples, being EcoVadis and CDP. In the case of EcoVadis, we started with bronze in 2022, 23. It was a big achievement for us. We made it to silver. Unfortunately, in 24, with the change of the scoring methodology, we went down to bronze again, and we are working hard this 2025 to get back to where we used to be, that silver medal. The case of CDP, I believe that's a good example that tells our improvement story, because we started with a C in 2022, then we got a B- in 2023, and then a B last year in 24. On top of that, we have our sustainability report that we have branded as corporate citizenship report. Actually, corporate citizenship is the term that we use for our team and for our function. The first corporate citizenship report was published in 2023. The second one last year in 24, and now we're about to publish our third sustainability report. Also worth noting that culture is very important for us, and I will be speaking about that soon. For us, culture is based on grassroots initiatives. That's why we have been promoting green teams of volunteers throughout the world. Those green teams have expanded fast and quickly. At the moment, we have around 50 green teams around the world. And Go Green Nordics, it's a very good example here in the Nordics, because it's one of the most active and leading when it comes to a number of initiatives. Okay, so let me flip to the next slide. And this is a screenshot from the corporate citizenship report that we published last year that I wanted to use because this page from the report summarizes our sustainability goals and targets. You have in blue our environmental targets, and in yellow, kind of greenish, our social targets. In the case of environmental, it's important to note that we have carbon reduction targets validated by SBTi, and that was significant. We achieved that last year. Actually, we believe we were the first large global distributor to have our carbon reduction targets approved by SBTi. You have the targets there. By 2028, 90% of our suppliers and 58% of our partners should have science-based targets themselves. That's a Scope 3 engagement target. Then by 2030, we have an absolute Scope 1 and Scope 2 combined reduction target of -42%. And by 2045, that's our net zero long-term commitment. On top of SBTi, we have additional targets around circular economy. We're working hard to incorporate circular economy principles into our operations and supply chain. And also we are expanding our ISO 14000 certificates. That's the case of Europe, where all our facilities are certified. And in our other regions, you know that we have 4 regions: North America, LAC, Europe, and APJ. In the rest of the regions, we are still working to cover the whole of our footprint. If you look at the extreme right on the slide, that's our social goals, and it's worth noting there that by 2030, we are working towards having 50% of our workforce identified as women, And in the case of leaders, directors and above, that should be at least at 40%. Okay, and I was telling you about our corporate citizenship program. It's structured around these 6 pillars that you have on the slide. The first one being education and thought leadership. We want to be a leader in terms of sustainability in the industry. We want to create awareness. We want to set trends. We want to be seen as a thought leader in the space. The second one is metrics and reporting. Everything we do, we want it to be based on data, and we want to be whole accountable, and we want to be transparent and report on our performance. Climate, arguably the most relevant topic for our environmental sustainability. We are working hard to reduce our footprint with our SBTi targets and all the actions that we are implementing. Same for the circular economy, with those 2 components: internal, what we're doing in our operations, but also external, what we are doing for the industry and our partners. And we're going to be touching on that soon on the presentation. The fifth one, and I spoke briefly about it, it's culture. We want to have a sustainability culture embedded throughout the organization, and we are getting there through our green teams of volunteers. And last but not least, the 6th pillar is commercial sustainability. We are working to identify commercial opportunities tied to sustainability and bring our sustainability thinking into our portfolio. Since these are our 6 pillars, so we're going to be using these 6 along the presentation. So following, we're going to be just highlighting and showing a couple of examples of education and thought leadership, 1 or 2 examples of metrics, climate mitigation. This is going to be the structure that we're going to be following along the presentation. So starting with education and thought leadership. Here we talked about our sustainability training, 3 programs in place, and a 4th one on cloud and data centers that's about to come. Ideally, that will be available in May. As a reminder that these are available both for TD SYNNEX co-workers, but also for partners through our TD SYNNEX External Academy. And if you are interested and you don't know how to access, I'm happy to to connect offline, and we'll show you how you can access TD SYNNEX trainings. And we also include here our sustainability reports. As I explained earlier, we have published 2 already. We are finalizing our fiscal year 2024 report. There, for us, it's the most significant single source of truth, because here we include all our thinking, all our policies, all our frameworks, and we also report on our performance along the 3 verticals, the E, the S, and the G. Moving into the second pillar, sustainability metrics and reporting. This is a screenshot of the ESG software that we are using, and we implemented a couple of years ago. We had a previous one that we replaced with this one, and here I want to just to show you how it looks, the home page, the home screen. And this is what we are looking when we have a look at the metrics and how we are performing in our different locations throughout the world. TD SYNNEX has 180 locations globally, both offices and warehouses. We are collecting data from all of them, and it's a significant number of locations. That's why we start with a map that gives us quick access to any location in the world. Then usually you have 2 graphs that you can see at the bottom. One is showing activity data, for example, kilowatts of energy, kilowatt hours of energy. Then we use the space to also put together an emissions graph showing how we're doing in terms of emissions. And then to the right, we also add kind of a ranking in terms of energy intensity or emissions intensity, considering different locations, and then some progress bars that show the progress in terms of invoice collection, because in the end we are 180 locations. We are collecting a huge number of electricity invoices, natural gas invoices, waste, and it's important to see how we are progressing in the different locations. The idea when designing our homepage was that just in a quick glance, we have all the important and significant information in one single place, and we can see and we can check quickly. And obviously, this is the then we can extract this data for our corporate citizenship report, and then all the reporting external reporting exercises like CDP, EcoBodies, but then also as a publicly traded company, we are reporting to a number of ESG ratings like Standard & Poor's, MSCI, a number of ratings, and this is the tool. It's basically the foundations that allow us to report ESG data externally. Moving into the third pillar was climate mitigation and GHG. In this case, we have an internal working group. That's the Sustainable Transportation Working Group, and my colleague Dimitrios is part of that. And in this working group, in the end, we are a distributor. We distribute all sort of IT products. So we do warehousing, but we do logistics, and the logistics when transporting, it implies some CO2 emissions. So we are working, finding ways to reduce the emissions from our transportation. That's the goal of this working group. And here we wanted to showcase some of just one example of the work that has been doing in the past months, being the Sustainable Transport and Logistics Guide. This was published very recently. It's some guidelines where at the beginning there's an introduction on GHG emissions and its connection with transportation, how those are emitted, and the explanation of the different terms. And then we tap into the possibilities to reduce emissions from transportation. And the idea is both showcase our best practices and share that best practices within TD SYNNEX, but also for all our operations and transportations leaders and colleagues in the organization to have some source materials where they can go and learn and get best practices and guide their work when designing our transportation throughout the world. At this moment, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Dimitrios. Dimitrios, maybe you'd like to introduce yourself briefly.
Thank you, Manuel. Good morning, everyone. As mentioned by Manuel at the beginning, I am TD SYNNEX's transportation manager for our Nordics region for outbound freight, but I'm also responsible for inbound freight for the European business as well. And today, I will showcase in my Nordics capacity. And we wanted to give you an overlook how transport and logistics have looked at the sustainability agenda and the activities we've taken to improve our footprint. So to kick off with transportation, we have 4 main partners for distribution in the region for pallets and parcels. And they are Bring in Sweden, GLS in Denmark, Post in Finland, and DHL in Norway. These partners and we have been working together to find ways to ensure that our deliveries are done in the most green and efficient way possible, which is still commercially viable. And we have put together plans on that match also their journey in in improving their sustainability scores and and what they have in place as their long-term targets. Actually, with at least 2 carriers, we have even trialed the utilization of electric vehicles and spearheaded some analysis some years ago that helped them roll out and expand their plans. No matter when we look at the partners, it is also important to note that one of our key selection criteria, apart from the commercial elements, is also their current medium-term and long-term plans when it comes to their emissions, the reduction, and the other activities surrounding that. But when we are talking about transport, it's important to note there are 3 stages. For the moment of collection of the goods, it's the first mile, so getting the goods from our warehouse to the carrier hub. Then the carrier doing radial distribution to the local depots in, let's say, Gothenburg or Stockholm or Lahti in Finland and so on and so forth. And then the delivery to the destination. And we've seen, we have worked with our partners to try to introduce improvements on the CO2 emissions and on how goods are delivered. Every night, our trucks have to travel 3.9 thousand kilometers to reach our carrier hubs. So that's a lot of distance. Geography is not the most favorable element on this front in the Nordics. We've trialed electric trucks in the past, and at the moment we have introduced HVO in a quarter of our lanes. Unfortunately, economic and distance factors make HVO an option that we are open to, but it still needs some thought through. However, we've worked with our carriers and we've requested that certain options are used when it comes to middle mile. So we prefer partners that are utilizing HVO fuel, biogas, and in some cases electric as well. Rail, we have also trialed it on specific corridors to reduce further our footprint. And where we have, but one key criteria and one key element that we need to highlight that we have seen with our carriers is that although there is a will, unfortunately, there is not enough supply of adequate assets to be able to do that. So there is always a hunt for the next vehicles and their conversions. However, our partners have made significant strides in electrifying or introducing biodiesel to their last mile from their local depots to the carrier to the destinations. In Sweden, more than 50% of the deliveries of our carriers and actually a higher percentage when it comes to our goods are delivered in a fossil-free way. Actually, in Norway, it's even better. 50% is done on electricity. And our partner in Denmark has introduced electric vehicles on the mix as well as bikes for city center locations in key areas of the country. And we can say that we have 20% is fossil-free. And for the remaining balance, our partner is committed to do offsets by investing in forests and other similar activities. Lastly, in Finland, we've worked with the sustainability department of our carrier, and they are rolling out electric vehicles for the last mile distribution. They have 2,000 and counting, with a comprehensive rollout for until the end of the decade to have the majority of the last mile being electric. Next slide, please. Oh, thank you. While we have been working with the carriers to improve the electricity and fossil-free percentage, there are 2 other ways we can add value. The first one is because everyone has different ways of approaching the calculations of CO2, and it's an ever-changing landscape. As a company, we've spent a lot of effort in designing a CO2 calculation tool for our distribution, based on some formulas and inputs from the carriers on factors and the electric carrier usage. That allows us in the near future to share a concise summary page of the CO2 profile of based on vendors and customers to our partners. And that's a tool that we keep refining, to this day, and is projected to be always in evolution as ratios evolve with our partners. Next slide, please. However, what we've realized when we looked at transport and logistics, we cannot always take it as two separate entities. There are interconnectivities. So one of the key elements that for our setup in the Nordic is that we've elected to have a single warehouse based in Sweden, south of Stockholm. The warehouse distributes goods to our carriers, but we found out that one way to reduce emissions further in transport is to work in tandem and try to reduce the amount of packages we send, do more consolidations, combine orders with customers. So in terms of fulfillment, we had joint projects where speaking with customers, we were allowed to combine multiple sales orders that are supposed to be dispatched together to the same destination in singular orders, assuming certain limitations. And in some specific case, we've manually done consolidation of orders. That has reduced the number of handling units, improved the utilization of trucks, and allowed for less CO2 when we can add more volume. We have also done layout changes in our warehouse to improve our ability to put more stuff in the same box, so reduce the number of packaging we use. And we have even trialed cutting out paper delivery notes and going electric, but that has received mixed signals from the market. Typically, operations are not favorable. On top of that, for specifically how we operate in our warehouse, we have devoted quite a bit of thought and effort in our facilities, how to reduce our carbon footprint. So we've signed up with suppliers who provide us 100% renewable energy. To reduce our consumption, we have also tied our building to the local district heating. We've then implemented comprehensive replacement of lights with LED that halved our consumption. And we are currently in the process of implementing solar panels installation, which we project is going to cover 30% of our current energy usage. And we have also replaced all our pallet moving cassettes with either manual elements for smaller movements and with fully electric equipment, including a recharge bay within the premises. Lastly, packaging is one other area where we've spent considerable effort thinking and optimizing. So we've selected suppliers that will provide us only recyclable-based cartons, and we've designed them in such a way that partners down the chain can reuse them if they so desire. They have no markings, nothing that will prohibit their use. We've changed the use of plastic tapes with a paper-based tape that is having water-soluble glue. Our pallets are 100% recyclable, and we reuse recycled pallets also physically. And we have trialed paper-based half pallets as well to reduce the footprint, as they tend to be a lot of the percentage tends to be recycled cartons. We have also done analysis to find the number of package sizes that improve the optimized space for our goods and reduce the amount of filler material. And we are also currently conducting a carton filler analysis, which is either putting scrunched up brown paper, recycled paper, or if we want to do bubble wrap. But even for the bubble wrap, we are still a bit of analysis to do. But we have found actually that if we select to go with bubble wrap using consumer-based recycled plastic, actually CO2 emissions seem to be even better than paper for the whole production. So we are still reviewing that analysis. But these are just a key selection of activities we've undertaken as logistics and transport in the Nordics to reduce our footprint. Our CO2 emissions are down by the carriers, and as you can see, we've made quite a stride in greenifying our facilities as well. Manuel, thank you again for the time. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dimitrios, and congratulations on the great work that your team is doing.
Thank you.
So, if you remember, we were following this structure of our 6 pillars. The next one, number 4, is circular economy. I think we all get a sense of what circular economy means and what's a circle in opposition to the linear way of producing and using. Just in case, we have included some definition here coming from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. It's a system where materials never become waste and nature is regenerated. In a circular economy, products and materials are kept in circulation. I believe that's the important concept here, through processes like maintenance, reuse, refurbishment, remanufacture, recycling, and composting. Probably if you are one of both for TD SYNNEX workers, but if you're one of our partners, maybe your customers are reaching out, asking about circular economy, what they can be doing, how we can support them in becoming more circular. Both in the Nordics and in the case of Europe, our circular economy services fall within what we call EU services. That's one vertical of our portfolio, which is actually, it's wider because EU services for us includes trading. And here's what everything we do around circularity would fall here, trading, but also value-added services that we offer, such as third-party warehousing and logistics, or finance solutions. Technology, for example, technology as a service would be a good example. But within trading and circularity, we trade in most type of devices. We restore, refer ourselves, sometimes through third parties, depending on the device. And we always try to bring the device again to the market for a second life as a way to keep, that was the key part of the definition, to keep devices in circulation and walk towards a more circular IT. If you're interested in our services here, please reach out to us and we can continue the conversation. And when it comes to our internal circularity, similar to the transportation working group, we have another one around circular economy. It's a circular economy working group that meets regularly. Again, we are working along different paths. We have put together some policies, some goals. This is an example of a playbook that we published recently. It's the Sustainable Packaging Playbook. Here, we were focusing strictly on packaging, similar to the transportation guidelines. At the beginning, explaining why this is important and the connection with sustainability and its impacts. We are providing a hierarchy, explaining how that hierarchy impacts our business, and then providing a number of best practices and examples that our operations team throughout the world could follow. That's again the intention of these guidelines, to share best practices and provide some resources for our local teams to make decisions and decide what they should be doing with a specific, when facing specific situations around packaging. Moving to the next one was culture. And here's the great work of our green teams, around 50 at the moment throughout the world. This is a screenshot from our latest sustainability report. We use our report to highlight, and also other internal channels, to highlight what our green teams are doing. Go Green Nordics is a great example because it's, I have to say, it's one of the most active and one of the most innovative in terms of thinking and in terms of the ideas and the initiatives that they are implementing and they are testing and putting together. Congratulations, team. And last but not least, the sixth pillar was commercial sustainability. Here, I wanted to mention that we are running a pilot in 3 countries, Denmark, France, and the UK, around product carbon footprints, PCFs. So our BDMs in those countries now have access to an external database that's reused, that it's the provider we're using here. So they have access to product footprint, and when we are sending quotes, when we are, offering, when we are putting together our responses to public tenders, for example, we are bringing these carbon data and carbon reports. We are testing that. And the next phase, if we decide to expand this pilot, it would be rolled out to other countries in Europe, but also in terms of the solution, we will integrate this database with our own databases. So we will be able to showcase this carbon data on our e-commerce platforms, invoicing systems, etc. And last but not least, we are building a sustainability practice builder. You know that TD SYNNEX has a number of practice builder for other products or product families. We have a cybersecurity practice builder, a cloud practice builder, and here we are building one for sustainability with a double intention. The first one, help our partners build capacity around sustainability and understand what this is about. And B, and most important, to drive business around sustainability, to understand what are the business opportunities here. And our intention is to provide all the support that our partners may need here. Although it's true that this year, 2025, we are focusing mostly on 4 product families, being data centers, cloud, buildings, and ESG software. Again, here, if you're a partner and you're interested in becoming part of our practice builder, please reach out to us and we can continue the conversation. And that was the last one. This is what we had put together to share with you today. As I said, an explanation of our corporate citizenship framework, what we are doing throughout the 6 pillars, with a little bit of focus on our transportation and warehousing in the Nordics, which we thought would be most of your interest. Now we have, yes, so it's 40 minutes. Maybe we have 5 minutes for a short Q&A. If there are some questions or you would like us to expand on any topic, we'd love to hear from you.
There's no questions in the chat anyway.
Okay.
Yet. But if anyone has any questions, you can please speak up.
Don't be shy.
Oh, you were super clear, Manuel. And
Maybe.
Dimitrios.
Okay, or maybe you don't have questions now, but we can continue the conversation anytime. So we thank you for your time. Thank you, Dimitrios. Thank you, Malin, for all the support on this. And thank you, Go Green Nordics, for your great work around sustainability. Julie, get better soon. And all you attendees, thank you for taking this time. It's been a pleasure. We're happy to continue the conversation anytime. Okay. Have a great